Okay, you're good to go, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, thank you. Meeting is now streaming live. Perfect. Why don't we begin? We're only missing Mr. Jowdy, who called an absent, and Mr. Nijamu, who maybe will show up, but we're good to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, good.
You have 10, yeah.
Yep. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Zoning Commission, City of Danbury, October 13th, 2020. Let the record show I will begin with a roll call at 7:31. Commissioner Almeida.
Here.
Commissioner Fay.
Here.
Commissioner Hawley.
Here.
Commissioner Hylinski.
Here.
Commissioner Jowdy, as I said, called in absent. Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Commissioner Massey.
Here.
Commissioner Malillo.
Here.
Commissioner Henry.
Here.
Commissioner Mershon.
Here.
Commissioner Nijame. I'm going to put him down for absent. And I am Commissioner Haddad. Mr. Mershon, please sit in for the entire evening for Mr. Jowdy.
Great. Sounds good.
That gives us 9 regular members for this evening and 1 waiting in the wings as an alternate. Let me just go over a little bit of housekeeping. This is a regular meeting of the Zoning Commission. It is being broadcast as a virtual meeting on Zoom. It also is being broadcast on our YouTube channel live. Our agenda and postings have shown the public how they can participate, how they can log in. The meeting will be run just like we run them in the Common Council chambers, except at some portions it may slow down a little bit to give Ms. Calitro the opportunity to see hands raised or to look on the screen and to see a hand raised if somebody wants to speak and inadvertently has their mic muted. We're going to hear a petition. We're going to listen to those in favor, listen to those opposed, go back and forth, and then see what happens after that. I have down here that the next regular meeting is scheduled for October 27, 2020. And right now, why don't we talk about the minutes of September 8th? Is there a motion to accept the minutes of September 8th? And I think everyone has a copy of that.
I'll motion.
There's a motion made by Mr. Massey to accept the minutes of the September 8th, 2020 Zoning Commission meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Hylinski. Is there any discussion? Any comments? Did anybody notice anything that needs to be corrected? Additions, deletions, modifications, alterations? Not seeing any. All those in favor of accepting the minutes of the September 8th, 2020, signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? I did not hear any opposition. Let the record show that the minutes were accepted unanimously. The first public hearing this evening is a petition of Encompass Health to amend sections 2B and 4H2B3 in parentheses III, small i's of the zoning regulations, in parentheses add physical medical facility inpatient to the PND zone. Let me just read into the record from the Planning Commission, dated October 7, 2020. To Theodore J. Haddad, Jr., Chairman, Danbury Zoning Commission, from Arnold E. Finaldi, Jr., Chairman, Danbury Planning Commission, regarding 8.3a referral petition of Encompass Health to amend sections 2B and 4H2B3 III of the zoning regulations, add physical medical facility inpatient to the PND zone. At the web-based Zoom meeting held October 7th, 2020, the City of Danbury Planning Commission voted to give the above referenced petition a positive recommendation for the following reasons. 1, the use is consistent with the plan of conservation and development. 2, it meets the purpose and intent of the district to which it is proposed to be allowed and is compatible with the other PND uses. 3, it will not negatively impact the health, safety, and welfare of the general public. The motion to give this a positive recommendation was made by Mrs. Hofstadter, seconded by Mr. Chioccio, and passed unanimously by a roll call vote with ayes from Mr. Chioccio, Mrs. Hofstadter, Mr. Salvain, Mr. Haas, and Chairman Finaldi. Additional,
Mr. Chairman, can you just read the legal notice so that these things get read into the record during the course of
I don't
the
have
hearings open?
a copy of the legal notice. Do you
Oh,
have?
you want me to read it? I have it. I'll read it. Okay. Legal notice, applications to be heard by the zoning commission at public hearings in a web-based meeting hosted on Zoom on October 13th, 2020 at 7:30 PM. Agenda to be posted will include instructions to access the Zoom meeting and the application materials. Public hearings pursuant to Executive Order 7I, Section 9C, notice is hereby given that the following petitions will be heard. 1, petition of Encompass Health to amend Section 2B and 4H2B3 III of the zoning regulations, add physical medical facility inpatient to the PND zone. 2, I'm going to read them all, and then I'm just going to make a comment about one of them so we're clear.
Thank you.
Number 2, petition of Fairway Asset Management 2 LLC, 18.22 acres on Reserve Road, C 16046, and 1.345 acres to the center of the adjacent right-of-way, total 19.565 acres for a change of zone from PND to IL 40. And number 3, petition of City Center Developers or Los Riveras Cafe, 1 Ives Street, I 14262 for special permit for restaurant liquor license. Theodore J. Haddad Jr., Chairman, sent to the town clerk on September 24th, 2020. And for the record for the meeting tonight, the petitioners for number 2, petition of Fairway Asset Management 2 LLC, has asked that this application be tabled tonight. So not opening the public hearing, be tabled. We can get to that when we get to that, just in case anybody's on the call that wants, for that application, they've asked to be tabled. So with that, I'll let you continue.
Thank you. Also, before we get to the staff report, I'm going to go quickly on the Westcog response on Encompass to Joanne Reed, September 2nd, 2020. Thank you for submitting the attached referral to Westcog. The opinion of Westcog staff is that the proposal is of local interest and with minimal intermunicipal impact. Therefore, it is not being forwarded to the adjacent municipalities, and the regional staff is making no comment. Ms. Kalitch, go to you.
Could I interrupt?
I'm sorry?
Could I interrupt? Who is that organization you just mentioned? Who is that?
That's if I can, Mr. Chairman, that's the Western Connecticut Council of Governments. And that is our regional organization. And we became part of them several years ago. It used to be the Housatonic Valley Council of Elected Officials. Yeah, so that's who we've become. We've merged with the other Southern COGs pursuant to statutory requirements. So
thank you.
Became the West COG, that's why.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Kalitch. Ms. Kalitch, would you read the staff report?
Sure. To the City of Danbury Planning Commission, City of Danbury Zoning Commission, from Sharon B. Calitro, AICP, Planning Director, date October 1st, 2020, regarding Encompass Health, petition to amend the zoning regulations, Section 2B, definition, Section 4H2B3, III, Planned Neighborhood Development, PND zone. We have received a petition from Attorney Ward Mizuko on behalf of Encompass Health to amend Section 2B definitions and Section 4H2B3 III of the zoning regulations to modify the existing definition of physical medical facility, define physical medical facility inpatient, and add the newly defined use to the PND zone. The use is proposed to be added to the list of permitted non-residential uses in the PND zone. In the PND, not serving the immediate needs of the residential development as may be approved by the Zoning Commission. The reasons given by the petitioner in the petition are really more of an explanation of the amendments. Petitioner's counsel has expressed to staff that should the amendment be approved, his client intends to construct an inpatient physical medical facility on tax assessor lot B15005 located within the reserve and identified as phase 9B in the reserve master plan, portion of development parcel 6 of the recorded survey. The lot consists of 13.8 acres and is currently owned by Berkeley Insurance Company. The approved master plan for the reserve allocates 100,000 square feet of non-residential uses for this phase. Comments, proposed amendments. The zoning regulations contain a definition of physical medical facility. These facilities are currently allowed in the CBD zone as a permitted use and in the IL40 zone as a special exception use. The definition is proposed to be amended to add the word outpatient. This is to differentiate an inpatient physical medical facility from a facility that offers the same treatment. I'm sorry, let me start again. This is to differentiate an outpatient physical medical facility from a facility that offers the same treatment, but to patients who can reside in the facility for the short term while receiving treatment. The petitioner seeks to amend the regulations to add a definition for an inpatient physical medical facility. The proposed definition, for the most part, mirrors the existing definition, except it provides for short-term inpatient stays and component facilities associated therewith. The proposed definition also provides for several accessory uses, such as space for central services and staff offices. It should be noted that under the proposed definition, physical therapy gyms, while also accessory, are limited to inpatient treatment or use only. This restriction and specific wording was included to avoid any future interpretation of the regulation, whereby the component gym within the facility could be used for outpatient treatments. Outpatient services would be prohibited within the defined use, as outpatient services would be provided in a use defined as physical medical facility outpatient. This differentiation, specifically in the P&D, will help limit traffic to the facility and therefore through the P&D. The amendment to the existing definition to add the word outpatient is accessible, as is the proposed definition for a physical medical facility inpatient. These definitions help clarify each use. The petition also seeks to add the newly defined use to the list of non-residential uses in the P&D not serving the immediate needs of the residential development. For the commission to reasonably conclude that this new use should be added, it should compare the new use to those listed in sections 4H 2B3 III, which includes banking and financial institutions, business services, business and professional offices, hotels with and without the sale of alcoholic beverages, motels and conference centers, manufacturing or assembly facilities, and sports complexes. Although physical medical facilities, inpatient or outpatient, are not specifically listed in the P&D in the non-residential use categories, offices for healthcare providers and health centers are included in the list of neighborhood, retail, and service uses. The proposed use, while containing components of both these uses, is clearly differentiated by the inpatient component. Physical medical facilities, as currently defined, could, however, be approved by the Zoning Commission upon a review and approval of a master plan if the commission were to find it similar in kind and character to the uses so listed. Plan of Conservation and Development, POCD. The goal of the Land Development Plan section of the POCD is to ensure that development patterns accommodate growth without diminishing the quality of life of the city. As noted in this section, improvements in land development planning require consideration of revisions in land use regulations to address changing development practices. Page 13. There are also allowed in the P&D There are uses allowed in the P&D zone that are non-residential in nature and do not necessarily meet the needs of the immediate neighborhood. The commission must determine whether it's appropriate to add the proposed use to these existing listed uses. While there is a residential component, it is transitional and short-term by definition. The proposed use is not specifically referenced as targeted land development in the West Side District Plan goal. However, the commission could reasonably conclude that this new use in the P&D, particularly on the West Side and by definition, helps manage growth while protecting neighborhoods and the environment, page 23, as it is limited to inpatient use only. This minimizes potential traffic impacts and vehicle trips through the existing P&D residential neighborhoods. The use as defined and if developed in the P&D will also result in the creation of jobs and grand list growth, both goals of the Economic Development Plan section, page 27. Conclusion, to amend the regulations, the commission must find that the addition of this use is 1, consistent with the POCD, 2, meets the purpose and intent of the district to which it is proposed to be allowed and is compatible with other P&D uses, and 3, will not negatively impact the health, safety, and welfare of the general public.
Thank you. Is there anyone here wishing to speak in favor of this petition?
Well, yes, Mr. Chairman, good evening. My name is Ward Mizuko. I'm a lawyer here in Danbury, and I'm pleased to appear on behalf of Encompass Health this evening. With me on the call is Serena Davis from Encompass Health, who can assist with questions in case I need some help. Of course, Sharon's staff report was so complete that I will end up repeating many of the things that she said. So please forgive me for that. But the proposal tonight is to essentially do two things, very straightforward. One, add a new definition in section 2B of the regulations for a physical medical facility inpatient. Now you already have a definition for physical medical facility outpatient. We're not proposing to change that in any way. We're also proposing to add the physical medical facility inpatient as a non-residential use permitted in the PND zone for H2B3B3. So if the commission sees fit to approve the application, then in due course, we'll be coming back before you with a petition to amend the master plan to allow this use on a specific piece of property that's currently approved for office uses. Because that application will entail a lot of the same information that you're hearing tonight, I would respectfully request the commission to incorporate tonight's record into the eventual record for the petition to amend the master plan. I think that would save some time and effort later on. I don't know if the commission has to take any action on that request, but I did want to put it out there.
I think also it would be wise to mention it at the time of the amendment, at the time you come in on the master plan amendment petition.
I would agree, Mr. Chairman. The time to incorporate it is in the next, to request the commission do that would be at the next application.
Okay, well, thank you both for that guidance. Okay. So back to the definition. A more common definition of what we're proposing is an inpatient rehabilitation hospital. This is truly a hospital, but it might be good to start with what it's not. It's not an institution to treat substance abuse. It's not a skilled nursing facility, i.e. a nursing home. It's not an acute care hospital that deals with surgery and emergencies and things of that sort like Danbury Hospital. It also is not a psychiatric institution like Fairfield Hills used to be. So at this point, if Ms. Calitro would allow me to share my screen, I can put some...
Should be good. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Let's see here. Have to. Okay, so let me jump right to the definition, and then we'll come back and talk about who Encompass is. So the definition is at the bottom of this page, and it's a facility licensed by the state of Connecticut that provides short-term inpatient treatment for the physical rehabilitation of patients who have lost mobility or who have other physical disabilities that can be corrected by programs of practice, exercise, or training by the use of modules simulating various facets of society, including but not limited to work, home, commercial, retail, and recreational experiences. Such programs to be provided by professionals or practitioners certified or licensed by the state of Connecticut to perform such physical rehabilitation services. Inpatient physical medical facilities may include associated central services, staff offices, and physical therapy gyms for inpatient treatment and use only. Said facilities do not provide substance abuse or dependency treatment, psychiatric or mental health treatment, emergency services, nor comprehensive diagnostics or inpatient surgical treatments. So let me just flip back at this point to Encompass. Encompass is the nation's leading provider of inpatient rehabilitation services. They have 136 inpatient rehabilitation hospitals across the country, offering post-acute care to patients that have suffered from an acute event such as a stroke, heart attack, neurological event, and so forth. Encompass provides services such as physical rehabilitation, occupational therapy, and speech therapy in an effort to assist patients who become more independent in their integration back into everyday routine. During their stay, patients will receive 24/7 nursing care, are seen by rehabilitation physicians at a minimum of 3 days a week, and will undergo 3 hours of intense physical rehabilitation each day. Encompass does not offer drug, alcohol, or mental rehabilitation. Patients are transported from the acute care hospital to our hospital via transport vehicles on a non-emergency basis, so there are no sirens or disruption to the neighborhood, and are admitted to the hospital typically for a duration of about 13 days on average. And although we provide services 24/7, our principal operating hours are typically from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., allowing our patients to rest overnight so they're prepared for the city's next therapy session. So that's the definition that we respectfully request you to add to section 2B. So now the issue is, what does this service add to our community? Well, in addition to answering that question for the Zoning Commission, we have to also answer that question for the state of Connecticut to make sure that medical resources are deployed where they're needed. The State Department of Health has a system requiring a certificate of need, a finding of need, if you will, for facilities throughout the state of Connecticut. So in deciding where to try to locate this hospital and to establish with the Department of Health that this need exists, we, and Encompass Health that is, looked at demographic data for the Danbury area, and which loosely encompasses northern Fairfield County, lower Litchfield County, and maybe some adjoining towns in New York. They found that over the next 5 years, the area should experience a 0.2% increase in general population. However, the portion of the population aged 65 and above is projected to increase 15.1%. And it's those people aged 65 and above who primarily rely on Medicare and who tend to be served by rehabilitation facilities such as this. Now, according to Medicare data, 90% of the patients who go to a rehabilitation hospital come from an acute care hospital like Danbury Hospital, Bridgeport Hospital, or Hartford Hospital. And the government statistics are, naturally very voluminous and detailed. And in terms of the rate of discharge from acute care hospitals to rehabilitation hospitals, Connecticut comes in 43 out of the 50 states. Why is that? It appears to be because inpatient rehabilitation hospital facilities in Connecticut are scarce. And truly, the only true freestanding inpatient rehabilitation hospital in Connecticut is Mount Sinai in Hartford. Now, some hospitals do have rehabilitation departments. Danbury Hospital, for example, does have a rehabilitation department. And according to government statistics, that department has only 14 beds. And though, so only 14 beds are available to provide the acute services, rehabilitation services that Encompass can offer. Now, if you take the national statistics about the discharge of patients from acute facilities to rehabilitation facilities, that would translate into a need in our area of 62 beds today. Out of those 62 beds, 14 are already served by Danbury Hospital. So that leaves a deficiency of 48 beds where rehabilitation care is needed but not provided. So the proposal that you'll eventually hear for the amendment to the master plan is to allow for 40 beds in this rehabilitation hospital, but to provide for eventual expansion to 80. That, of course, would require additional certificates of need and additional site plan reviews by the planning department, or planning and zoning department, I should say. So what's happening to these patients now who need the resources of a rehabilitation hospital? Well, they tend to go to skilled nursing homes. And is that a good thing? The answer is probably not. There's a big difference between a rehabilitation hospital like we're proposing and a skilled nursing home. With the rehabilitation hospital, the doctor, a rehabilitation doctor, has to visit the patient at least 3 times a week. In a nursing home, that can be as little as once a month. In a rehabilitation hospital, there has to be intensive therapy every day for 3 hours. In a nursing home, it's not required. The average stay, as I mentioned earlier, is 13 days in a rehabilitation hospital. But in a nursing home, in the absence of this acute rehabilitation therapy, patients tend to stay on a long term. So the objective of the rehabilitation hospital is to get patients better faster, get them home, and to elevate their status sufficiently so that they don't go back into an acute care hospital where the costs are the highest. And Medicare certainly favors avoidance of rehospitalizations. So the proposal that you'll eventually hear calls for a project costing about $39,100,000, which will, of course, add significantly to the tax base. It would bring about 70 full-time jobs at the beginning, paying about $75,000 a year. And ultimately, in about 5 years, we'd expect to be employing about 122 full-time employees, earning on average $80,000 a year. Of course, this project would not bring any children to the schools. So as the staff report pointed out, the traffic impact is very modest because other than employees coming and going and maybe occasional visitors, these patients are residing there. There's no outpatient treatment, so people are not coming and going for their therapy. And when you compare that to the office use that's already approved for this site, it would result in a very modest, a lessened traffic impact. And that was a finding by the Planning Commission in determining that this complies with the Plan of Conservation and Development. I should point out too that in your regulations, among the non-residential uses, and I'm really just reiterating what Sharon already told you, But in the non-residential uses in the PND zone, the uses already allowed include offices for healthcare providers and health centers. And the highlighted area gives this commission the opportunity to allow for additional non-residential uses whose services may extend beyond the immediate neighborhood.
Yeah, I need the sheet.
So if we go back to the application, we already talked about the definition down here. Up here is the section of the PND regs that we propose to amend. And the amendment consists of adding and inpatient physical medical facilities among the uses which would be specifically allowable upon further approval by this commission. So in light of the demonstrable healthcare benefits, I would respectfully suggest that this not only has no detrimental effect on the health, safety, and welfare of the community, but significantly enhances the health, safety, and welfare of the community, as it also complies with the Plan of Conservation and Development and is consistent with regulations that already apply in the PND zone. As you may recall, there's a master declarant in the PND, in the reserve, which the PND zone applies to. And we don't have an official determination yet, but the preliminary indication is that they have no objection to this application and would find this an appropriate use for the neighborhood. If there are any questions on what I've presented so far, I'd be happy to address them. Otherwise, I can move to a few closing comments if you like.
I can't, with you grabbing the screen here, I can't see if any hands are raised. Any commission members at this point, do you have any questions of Attorney Mizuko? I see Mr. Kelly's hand raised. Mr. Kelly.
Yes, Mr. Mizuko, you used it when you were talking about Danbury's needs. You went to Hartford, but Burke Rehabilitation Westchester would be our primary hospital for that kind of retreatment. Could you answer that question?
Well,
Burke Rehabilitation Hospital.
Right. I've heard of it. I don't know if that actually falls within the service area that we would contemplate in this proposal. Our proposal is to serve mostly Connecticut towns. And I'm sure that some patients do go to Burke. I've certainly heard of that from my personal experience. But the service area that we've determined, Northern Fairfield County and Southern Fairfield County primarily, Northern Fairfield and Southern Litchfield, I should say, there we show a deficit of the 48 beds. So yes, probably it could be that some more severe cases do go to Burke.
Where did you say Burke was?
Elmsford, Westchester County.
Got it.
And a half hour down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mizuko. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Commission members, anything else of Mr. Mizuko at this time? Let him go on. Mr. Hawley.
Hello. Yes, Attorney Mizuko. So I have a question for you. Why did you choose the name Physical Medical Facility Inpatient compared to using Rehabilitation Hospital?
Right.
That's a very good question. This facility, I find, is sort of like a chameleon, and depending on its setting, it has it appears in many different ways. I think the Department of Health calls it a chronic care hospital. To be consistent with the regulations, after discussions with the planning department, we settled on inpatient medical facility. And in the industry, it's also referred to as an inpatient residential hospital. So I apologize that there's not a more consistent definition. It is. I found it very confusing myself, and it took me a while to get my arms around it. But that's the answer.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hawley. Thank you, Mr. Mizuko. Anything else, commissioners, at this time? Mrs. Mizuko, you had more to follow up on?
Well, I just wanted to say, if I might, that we're poised to file an application to amend the master plan should the commission see fit to approve the changes to the regulations that I've brought before you tonight. So if there's an opportunity for the commission to close the hearing and take action at an early date, I would be most grateful. And thank you very much for all of your time and your questions this evening.
Thank you, Attorney Mizuko. I see Mr. Malolo.
Mr. Kelly. And Mr. Kelly had his hand up.
Yes, Attorney Mizuko, just for clarification purposes for other commission members and myself, just so we fully understand, the application before us tonight really would be step one. And approval of this petition doesn't automatically put something into the reserve or even into Summit, which is now the second PND in the city of Danbury. Because of the way those master plans are written, they would have to be amended to actually allow this type of facility. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And even beyond that, there's a step 3, which is the review of the detailed site plan by the Planning and Zoning Department. So the first step is the regulation change before you. The second step would be amending the master plan, which would also come before you. And the third step is the site plan review by the Planning and Zoning Department and other city agencies.
Thank you, Mr. Malolo. Thank you, Attorney Mizuko. Mr. Kelly had a question.
I'm thinking about Nuvance. Have they been contacted about this proposal? Nuvance Health?
To Attorney Mizuko.
No, we have not contacted them. I mean, they have access to the same demographic information that we have, and they've confined their rehabilitation department to 14 beds. So we're just picking up where they're leaving off.
Where did you come up with 44 patients?
Okay, so if you look at the rate nationally at which acute hospitals discharge to rehabilitation hospitals and extrapolate that to our service area, the number of rehabilitation patients to be served at any given time should be about 68. Danbury Hospital offers 14, so that leaves the deficit of 48. And we're only requesting permission from the Department of Health today for 40 beds, which still won't meet all of the need, but it will meet more of the need. And it's not really going to take patients from Danbury Hospital. It's going to take patients from the nursing homes where they're not getting the same level of intensive care, using that term loosely, that they would get at a rehabilitation hospital. It'll help those patients get well sooner.
So you think these 44 patients are somewhere out there in a nursing home or wherever? They don't think they're finding the rehabilitation hospital that they should go to?
Well, certainly some of them may. And as you said, Mr. Kelly, some of them could be going to Burke. But if you're living in a Danbury area, being able to visit your loved one in Danbury, as opposed to going down to Elmsford or going up to Hartford for the Mount Sinai facility would be a real convenience.
Are you all set, Mr. Kelly?
Yes, I would like to.
I'm sorry?
I'm finished.
Okay, I saw Ms. Davis's hand raised. Did Attorney Mizuko, did she have a comment?
I just wanted to make one clarifying comment that we do receive patients, and we actually help the acute care hospital. When they're finished with the patient, they have and they're ready for discharge, they need somewhere to discharge that patient to. And we would, be there for them to offer additional beds for the rehabilitation so that they can leave their facility faster and they can open up that bed to another acute care patient.
Okay, that was Serena Davis of Encompass.
Yes.
That's correct.
Anything else, any commission members at this time? I don't, Ms. Hylinski.
So, Attorney Mizuko, Encompass wouldn't be working in conjunction with Danbury Hospital, but you would be on your own. And so, you know how they have the people at Danbury Hospital that when they discharge you, sometimes, as you say, to a nursing home, would they then have a list of places for physical therapy and your name would be one of them?
Well, it's more than just physical therapy. It's a more intense rehabilitation. But Serena,
Right.
do you want to address that?
Yes.
So yes, we would be offered as one, if the doctors at Danbury Hospital have to, they basically prescribe a level of therapy. And if that level of therapy is approximately 3+ hours per day, then they wouldn't be able to be released to a skilled nursing facility. They would be released to somebody like us. And upon that, yes, we would be working with them, or we would offer our name up as one. And I'm not familiar with Burke, but Burke would also be on that list from them to choose from.
Okay. Thank you. You answered my question.
Commissioner Melillo.
Yes, so I don't know if this is for Ms. Davis or for Attorney Mizuko. Either one of you could answer it. So I'm sitting here tonight, and as I'm listening to you speak, it's almost sounding to me as though in Danbury, the Danbury community, but as well as the state of Connecticut, we're actually underserving our population in the fact that we're forcing them to maybe to go to a nursing home for a treatment facility because we don't have anything else for them, which at the same time also could be jeopardizing the people who would truly be needing the beds in a nursing home facility, who may not be getting those because those beds are being taken from a much short-term basis for somebody who just needs some physical rehabilitation, an acute physical rehabilitation, and then is able to return home. So would this petition be twofold, where it would serve that need, but it could also help alleviate the nursing homes and make them better service the constituents that they are actually designed to service as well?
Oh, absolutely. You said it better than I could have. That's exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. And it not only serves the nursing homes, but it also, as Serena said, frees up beds for acute care at Danbury Hospital. So it adds an option, or enlarges or expands an option for patients in our area that just isn't being met right now.
Thank you. Anything else, commission members, at this time for Attorney Mizuko? Attorney Mizuko, are you all set for now? We're going to come back to you again. I just want to, are you finished with this round?
Yes, sir. I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? I see.
Mr. Rotello. You see
see-
Mr. Rotello?
Mr. Rotello.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Attorney Mizuko, Paul Rotello, 13 Linden Place, Danbury. I have a couple of comments and a couple of questions. I don't expect you to engage in a direct dialogue, but I just wanted to put that out there with the chairman's indulgence. I'm not an expert on this, but it seems to me, as somebody who lives in Danbury and also as a public official, this is something the city could use. We've got 85,000 people in the city of Danbury and another couple of 100,000 in the region. And we don't have one of these in the city now. Obviously, that's a decision that's made at the state level. But as someone looking at this through the lens of locality, I would be in favor of positioning one of these things in Danbury, whether it's on the west side or the east side. Doesn't seem to make much difference to me, but as long as we have one, I think that would be a good step. Like the Proton Center, like an assisted living center, like a hospital, like another firehouse or an ambulance house or something like that. These are tools that the city needs, and I would welcome that. Purely from a financial point of view, adding $40 million to the grand list is no small thing. Adding, I think Attorney Mizuko said 122 jobs paying approximately $80,000 a year. That's an amazing thing. And when people ask me what should we do in a particular locale, my stock answer is I want a box filled with jobs. This is a box filled with jobs. It's a great box. The jobs are great and the box does wonderful things. But at the end of the day, from public policy, it increases the grand list, it adds jobs. People are employed in an area that used to be IL 40, which was essentially designed for jobs. And as the attorney stated, nobody's going to school. So those are all good things. With the chair's indulgence, this is an indirect issue. It'll be more direct as the petitioner comes back. But there's now 2 PNDs up on the west side, and I'm curious as to which one this will be located at. Would it be, for instance, in the summit? Would it be a separate freestanding building? Where would it be? What are the plans for that? And of course, if this is too off topic, then we could save that for another time. But it's just a member of the public who's curious. The application does not state that. I am a little curious as to where the plans were to locate this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mizuko, that was touched on briefly. Do you want to go over it again?
Yep, Mr. Chairman, if I could share the screen again, I can.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, go ahead. Should be
Okay,
good.
thank you. All right. I anticipated that somebody might have this question. So here's an overview of the reserve. This is the summit, the former Union Carbide building, the Matrix. Here's exit 2, an old Ridgeberry Road. Here's exit 1, Sawmill Road. And of course, here's the well-known and prominent Toll Brothers complex. The northern entrance to the summit is here, and the subject parcel is here in this yellow color. So that's where it would be located. And I can share some preliminary information about the site. It's a 1-story building, parking, nothing exciting here. And the preliminary facade would look something along this approach. So that these plans are still subject to change, and I would elaborate more, of course, when the commission takes up our next application. But I hope that takes care of Mr. Rotello's question.
Thank you. That does. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Attorney Mizuko. Mr. Rotello, did you have anything else before closing out?
That's it, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition?
Mr. Chairman?
Easy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ben Chinese, 5 Briar Ridge Road here in Danbury. Originally, I was not planning on speaking tonight. I was mostly just trying to get information. Just for the record, so people would know, I do work at Hancock Hall and Pelosa, which we are a rehabilitation and a nursing home here in the city of Danbury. We've been around for over 70 years. And I do take offensive to Mr. Mizuko's that nursing homes do not provide quality care regarding its rehabilitation. And I'm sure if you added the other 4 or 5 nursing homes within the greater Danbury, they will also disagree with Mr. Mizuko's assessment on nursing homes care. We do offer short-term rehabilitation beds. Our average stay is between 11 to 13 days, and we do have a positive rate of recovery. Whether there's an additional need for rehab beds in the city, that's again to be debated. We have about 25 beds that we dedicate to short-term rehab, which I guess wasn't mentioned in Mr. Mizuko's number of 40 that is needed. But if you add Glen Hill, if you add Pope John Paul's rehab beds, I'm sure we make up the difference of those 40 beds that are deemed to be missing in his assessments. So again, with this application, I think there's probably some need for additional rehab that they can offer, that nursing homes cannot offer. Our population generally deals with the senior population, 65 or greater, where their population can be more younger generation between 18 and less than 65. Yes, there will be a certificate of need, but I'm sure if you kept this application open to the next period, I can sure there'd be a lot more people coming on this call and giving you a lot more information regarding rehabilitation services in the greater Danbury area. And if we brought in the state associations in here, they can definitely give you much more information of how nursing homes, which are getting a bad rap nowadays because with the COVID-19, we do provide excellent care. And again, do take offense to Mr. Mizuko's saying that we do not. Again, tonight I was only here strictly just for informational services. But again, I'm giving what he has said. I think he's going to probably get a lot of opposition, maybe not on the zoning call, but he'll probably get a lot of opposition on his certificate of need application that he will submit to the state of Connecticut. So again, that's my opinion for tonight. And thank you for listening to me, I guess, kind of whine a little bit. But we do take rehab seriously, and we do take offense to anybody trying to put down the services that nursing homes do provide. And again, I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, nor as my other colleagues that I work with weren't planning on speaking tonight as well. But I'm sure they're on the YouTube call listening. So I'm sure if you kept this open of another meeting, I'm sure you'll get a lot more people opining as well regarding the services that are currently being provided. Thank you, Commissioner, for listening to me this evening.
Mr. Janese, thank you very much, and thank you for the services that you provide as well. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Attorney Mizuko, would you like to rebut or have any other comments? And then I'm going to call on commission members if they have any other questions of you as well.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hope that nowhere in my presentation that I criticize nursing homes. They provide a very valuable service. They're part of the fabric of our community, and they definitely serve a need. That's not the issue. The issue is that we can provide additional services. We're required to provide additional services. And a nursing home and a rehabilitation hospital are simply not the same thing. Like Mr. Kelly was pointing out, the Burke Rehabilitation Hospital down in Westchester. The patients who are there generally have more profound difficulties and require more intense services than the typical nursing home affords. And again, there's nothing wrong with nursing homes. They're a wonderful service. This is just a different kind of service. Serena, I don't know if you want to elaborate at all, but you might be well positioned to do so.
I will just add that, we are submitting an application to the state for review. They take into consideration all of the skilled nursing facilities, all of the hospitals that are in the surrounding area, and they determine whether the need is made, and it's within their jurisdiction. And we've presented our application for them for review. It has been submitted and should be, our first round of completeness questions should be finished this week. We expect maybe a second round of completeness questions because we're familiar that there's our services and what they are not well known in this area. And so we'll need to explain a little bit more in depth to them exactly what it is that we offer to the community, which may be different from a skilled nursing facility, but we definitely understand that skilled nursing facilities are needed in this environment. We just offer a different set of services, and we are licensed as a hospital. So, and it could be that some of the people that are released from our hospital will go to a skilled nursing facility second. So I just wanted to make that clarification.
Thank you.
Thank
Attorney Mizuko.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so just to conclude, we're saying nothing negative about the services of nursing homes. We just do something different. And in terms of the issues before this commission, the health, safety, and welfare of the community is foremost, and offering more options is better than offering fewer options. And we would be adding an important option, a component that we believe is currently unmet. And if the Department of Health agrees that there's a deficit in this service, then we would most especially appreciate the zoning commission's authorization to go forward.
Thank you. Commission members, any other further questions of Attorney Mizuko? Ms. Calitro?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, thank you. I just want to clarify something for the record. Just to be clear, that the existing definition of physical medical facility, the definition itself is not proposed to be changed, but in terms of, explains what it is, but they're proposing to add the word outpatient after physical medical facility. So you'll see that in there, and you saw that on Attorney Mizuko's PowerPoint. So they are adding the word outpatient, and that will differentiate. While they're not changing any of the words inside the definition, they are changing what that definition and what that use, how we see that use and what that use is. Then they're proposing to add a new use, physical medical facility inpatient. And then obviously they're proposing to add that use to the P&D zone. So just so that we're clear what the petition includes.
Thank you. Attorney Mizuko, if I may, I was going to ask you, I'm going to continue to ask you what I was going to, but I think Ms. Davis summed it up. Let me see if I get this straight. And I'm going to speak in very basic layman's terms or examples. You come up with a concept, it's your industry, but you have to go to the state of Connecticut to say, I have an idea, this is what I do, I want to do it here. Okay, so you're going to specify a location. You're going to provide to them your stats or your data. And that's a requirement that you go to the state. And then they say to you, yes or no?
Absolutely.
So they feel that they can. So if you bring positive data, they still can overrule that?
Well, they assess the data and make their own determination. If they feel that the need is adequately met by other facilities in the area, they'll turn us down.
Okay.
But we believe strongly that they will perceive the need as we do and allow it.
Well, the reason why I phrase it that way is because you obviously are you're a private company looking to put $40 million into the ground. So I would assume that you have a justification for this, and for you to be this far in the game, it looks like the state would probably agree with your findings. And it sounds to me like from Ms. Davis that you're not that far off from hearing. You're pretty close to hearing from them. Is that about right?
Yes, within the next few months, we believe.
Oh, next few months. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me speak on that. We're going to our application will be deemed complete. It may go through several hearings, but it's anticipated to take in between 8 to 12 months in total after the application is deemed complete.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Davis. Thank you, Attorney Mizuko. Commission members, anything else of Attorney Mizuko at this time? Ms. Melillo.
Yes, Attorney Mizuko. I just want to clarify one thing for the record, so there is no misinterpretation of what was presented this evening. This application before us tonight is really about making the definition of this use and then adding this as an allowed use to the P&D zone. While you have a site in mind, It's not about approving it in that site. It's more about allowing the use. At a future date, we would be having another public hearing in regards to this site, mainly because it is involved with the PND zone and amending a master plan, which we would control. Is that correct?
Exactly right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Malillo. Commission members, I don't see any hands raised. Ms. Calitro, anything else? I do. Mr. Kelly, did you
Mr. Kelly.
Hey.
Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Kelly?
Chairman, I would love to have this discussion continued again when we bring in all the healthcare, the Novance Corporation, the other facilities, to continue this and bring all those people in to have them talk to us about the needs and the issues about what we're proposing to do here tonight. I would like to have this meeting continued.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
May I comment, Mr. Chairman? I mean, what we're really talking about here is a decision that's ultimately made by the state based on reams of data. And what I'm sensing from some of the comments this evening is a concern about competition. And that would be like when you get to the liquor permit later tonight, saying, hey, let's invite all the other restaurant owners in and see how they how they feel about having another restaurant in town. That's not what zoning is about. Zoning is about whether our application stands alone on its own merit. And I respectfully suggest that it does.
Point of clarification, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Malillo, please.
Was Mr. Kelly making a motion to continue?
Mr. Kelly, were you making a motion to?
Yes.
Mr. Malillo, Mr. Kelly made a motion to continue this evening's public hearing. The next public hearing is for October 27th. Is there a second to that motion? Motion made by Mr. Kelly to continue this public hearing. Is there a second to that motion? Is there a second to the motion? Is there a second to the motion? Not a second, that motion fails.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Malillo.
I would like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Commission members, there's a motion made by Mr. Malillo, Commissioner Malillo, to close the public hearing. Is there a second? I see Mr. Fay's hand raised. She seconds it. There's a motion made to continue the public hearing by Mr. Malillo, second by Commission Member Fay. Commission members, any comments? All those in favor of closing this public hearing this evening signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Not hearing any opposition to that, this public hearing is closed.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman,
you. Thank you, Attorney Mizuko. Mr.
Thank you all
Malillo,
very much.
I would like to make a motion to move this to item number 1 under old business this evening.
Commission members, there's a motion made by Commission Member Malillo to move this to number 1 under old business for discussion and possible action. Is there?
Second.
Second by Commission Member Fay. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Uh,
There is one opposition, and it is the hand of Mr. Kelly. The motion to move it to number 1 under old business passes 8-1. We're going to go to number 2 under public hearings. I'm going to go to Ms. Calitro at this point in time. She mentioned that this one has been requested by the applicant to table it, so we're not even going to open it. Is that correct?
Yes, that would be my recommendation, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I would take a motion to just table it.
Take a motion to just table it.
Yes.
Commission members, on the petition of Fairway Asset Management 2 LLC, 18.22 acres on Reserve Road, C16046, 1.345 acres and 1.345 acres to the center of the adjacent right-of-way, total 19.56 acres for change of zone from PND to IL 40. Is there a motion to table this as requested by the applicant?
So moved.
It's a motion made by Commission Member Fay to table this. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Kelly. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Not hearing any opposition, unanimously approved. This will be tabled. Again, the next meeting is October 27th, 2020. Third petition this evening. Petition of City Center Developers, Los Riveras Cafe 1, Ive Street, I-14262 for special permit for restaurant liquor license. I've got to find my pile here. What do I have? Ms. Calitro, where are we on this?
This is a petition for a special permit for a restaurant liquor license.
Okay. I've got a,
You should have a copy of the waiver approval issued by the department in March of this year.
March 30th, 2020. All
That's
the,
correct.
I see on the notes here that all the commission members got that.
That's- yes.
Also see some other dated June 16th letter and some minutes of a July meeting. I gather touch on that once I read into all those wishing to speak in favor. The legal notice was read in earlier. Am I correct?
Yes, it was.
All those wishing to speak in favor of this petition. Attorney Goldman.
Hello, Goldman. I'm an attorney in Danbury, and I'm speaking in favor of Los Riveras Cafe's motion for a request for a special permit under 3F2.
Thank you, Attorney Goldman.
Now, I think ours is a little simpler than the previous application.
Thank you.
We are seeking to place a Mexican restaurant, which I think speaks for itself, and to get a restaurant liquor permit to go with it. I think Ms. Eminger's letters says a lot. The only reason we're here tonight is that there was a restaurant that had a liquor permit, which went out of business over 10 years ago. So we're required to come back to you tonight to request the special permit.
And I see some familiar names on the 2006 original approval, Mr. Malillo, Mr. Haddad.
I noticed that also, Mr. Haddad.
I'm sorry?
I noticed that earlier today too as well.
We're almost around as long as Biden. Attorney Goldman, I'm just going to take a couple points off of the letter from Ms. Eminger, just so I could put some things out there. Everybody did get a copy of it, but because we're on the YouTube and it's public hearing, let me just throw out there a couple details. This is a restaurant of approximately 4,200 square feet with the sale of alcohol on the first floor in an existing building located at 1 Ive Street. The property owner is City Center Developer, Inc. The tenant space was most recently occupied by Galucci's Catering. So if you're all familiar with this, commission members, it's the one that's like closest to the little green area over there where they do those little summer concerts. The proposed restaurant, Los Riveras Cafe, consists of 70 seats and 16-seat patio and a 19-seat bar area. This letter discusses the history of it on June 16, 2006, where the department waiver approval for a 96-seat restaurant, and the zoning commission granted a special permit for the following month for a restaurant liquor license. Pursuant to section 5F2C3 of the zoning regulations, a restaurant with the sale of alcohol is a special permit use in the CCBD zoning district. The property is located in downtown revitalization zone. The restaurant requires a total of 35 parking spaces, 105 seats, and 8 employees. The department is in receipt of a letter from the Danbury Parking Authority verifying that 35 spaces are available in the Patriot Garage. The application for a waiver to site plan requirements for said 4,200 square foot restaurant located at 1 Ive Street is approved subject to the following administrative requirements. And it speaks about the approval is granted strictly for the proposed change in use, and any additional changes to the site layout require a revised site plan application. The restaurant shall not exceed 105 seats. Pursuant to section 3F2 of the zoning regulations, the applicant shall obtain a special permit from the zoning commission for a restaurant with the sale of alcoholic beverages. The applicant shall provide evidence to the zoning enforcement officer that the zoning commission has granted the special permit in accordance with number 3 above. What else you got to say, Attorney Goldman?
Well, I think you've said it all. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Commission members, are there any questions of Attorney Goldman at this time? Nothing at this time. Hello.
I have one just for clarification, because I just want to put on the record that while the name of the facility is cafe, this is a restaurant liquor license. So this is a restaurant that will be serving food, correct? Not a cafe, because there's a difference in those two types of permits, and especially being in the downtown dining district, I want to reiterate that clarification.
And I will reiterate it for you. It is a restaurant. It will be serving food starting at 11:30 lunch every day. And it intends to be open till midnight each night.
Full service restaurant with people can sit at the bar. They're not looking for table only. This is a full service restaurant.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Anything else, commission members, at this time? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to this petition? I just clicked this here. Okay. Attorney Goldman, anything else?
No, we just simply want, we're seeking your approval.
Thank you. Commission members, is there a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
Motion.
Motion made by Commission Member Hylinski to close the public hearing. I did not see a hand on a second, but I heard Mr. Kelly will second that. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Oh, I'm sorry. Anyone, all those wishing to speak in favor, signify by saying aye. Let's close the public hearing.
Aye.
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 Any opposition? Unanimously, we'll close this public hearing for this evening. Mr. Melillo, you're on mute.
You have to unmute.
Mr. Haddad.
You want to move this to number 2 under old business?
Certainly. I'll move this item number 2 under old business for discussion and possible action.
Great idea. Thank you. It's motion by Mr. Melillo to move number 2 under old business. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Massey. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 This unanimously moves to number 2 under old business for discussion and possible action. Let us go now. I'll move this over here and I'll bring this over here. Let us go now to the first petition under old business tonight for discussion of possible action. That is a petition of Encompass Health to amend sections 2B and 4H2B3 III of the zoning regulations at physical medical facility inpatient to the PND zone. Public hearing was open on October 13, 2020. It was closed on October 13, 2020. Commission members.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Melillo.
I would like to make a motion. I would like to make a motion to approve this petition in that it is consistent with the plan of conservation development. It meets the purpose and intent of the district to which it is proposed to be allowed, and it's compatible with other PND uses. It will not negatively impact the health, safety, and welfare of the general public. And I'd like to add a fourth reason, that it will add a use to Danbury that appears to be lacking.
Thank you. Commission members, there was a motion made by Mr. Melillo to approve this petition with reasons as stated. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I see a second by Mr. Massey.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Melillo.
just for comment purposes, I would like to, and I think this is an appropriate time to make this comment. While there is a strong possibility that either this commission, or perhaps the planning commission, depending on what the circumstances arise, may need to hear more information from others in the medical field about this use. I don't necessarily think this evening is the appropriate time, as it's more of a use allowing petition and not a site specific, where much more further information would be available and be readily available for that. So while I would agree with Mr. Kelly that perhaps it may be important to have other people in the medical field weigh in on it, I think that would be the purpose for a future public hearing, and not so much this public hearing, as this would really just open the door for that to happen. And so with that, that is the reason why I thought it was okay to move this item forward this evening, and made the motion to give the approval.
Thank you. I felt the same way, which is the reason why I voted as well. Any other comments? There's a motion made by Mr. Melillo with reasons, and there's a second by Mr. Massey to approve this petition. And I'm going to do a roll call vote on this. A yes is yes, a no is no. Mr. Melillo.
Yes.
Mr. Massey.
Yes.
Mr. Almeida.
Yes.
Ms. Fay.
Yes.
Mr. Hawley.
Yes.
Ms. Hylinski.
Yes.
Ms. Marchand.
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
No.
I will vote yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That petition passes 8-1. Thank you, Attorney Mizuko.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Good luck to you, and I guess this commission will see you again.
Yes, sir.
The second petition this evening under old business is a petition of City Center Developers Los Rivera's Cafe, 1 Ive Street, I-1 4262, for special permit for restaurant liquor license. Public hearing was opened October 13, 2020, and was closed October 13, 2020. Commission members, what's your take on this?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Melillo.
I guess I will let history repeat itself, as in the July 11th, 2006 minutes, it shows that I had made a motion regarding this. I'll make a motion again this evening to approve this petition, as it will not have a detrimental effect on the neighborhood, and it meets the qualifications set forth in the regs regarding the special permits for restaurant liquor licenses.
Thank you. I saw the name. I didn't realize you were the motion maker on that one. Highlight zone. Motion made by Mr. Melillo with reasons. Is second. I'm looking for hands. Is there a second to the motion? Mr. Almeida. Motion made by Mr. Melillo, second by Mr. Almeida. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any commission members? A yes is yes. A no is no. I'm running behind here on paperwork. Who did I say made the second on that?
I did.
Almeida. And I'm going to do a roll call on that. Mr. Melillo.
Yes.
Mr. Almeida.
Yes.
Ms. Fay.
Yes.
Mr. Hawley.
Yes.
Ms. Hylinski.
Yes.
Mr. Mershon,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Mr. Mazzy,
Yes.
and I will make it unanimous. 9-0. That is approved. Where's Mr. Goldman? There you are.
Here,
Goldman, good luck to you.
thank you very much.
Under new business, these papers. Under new business this evening. This goes here. Petition 56 Padenham Road LLC Fiestas Deli for special permit for restaurant beer and wine license, 56 Padenham Road, I-10978. Public hearing scheduled for October 27th, 2020. Do we have a motion to move this? No, we don't need a referral.
You
on-
don't need a motion, right?
No. Second one is a petition of the City of Danbury by Sharon B. Calitro. I think we know her. To sections 2B and 6A, 5D of the zoning regulations, in parentheses, amend definition of continuing care facility and delete independent units in said facilities in the IL 40 zone. Public hearing scheduled for November 24th, 2020. Mr. Mo-
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to receive this petition, refer this petition to the Planning Commission, file it in the town clerk's office, set the public hearing date for November 24th, 2020, and notify any surrounding communities and other agencies that would need to be notified in accordance with state statutes.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You need a second, right?
Second, Ms. Hylinski. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, thank you. Under correspondence, none. Other matters? Are there any other matters? Any other matters? Any other matters? Ms. Calitro, we're going to be carrying over to the 27th, so we will have that meeting?
Yes, you will have that meeting because we have a public hearing scheduled for that date for, that was number 1 under new business.
Good.
And I should have an update on the Fairway Asset Management 2 LLC petition by that time.
Perfect. Got it. Thank you. I think we're done. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll
So
motion.
moved.
Hey, motion to adjourn. Second by Ms. Mazzy. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who made it?
Wait, who made it? Joanne needs to know who made that motion.
Candace made the motion.
Motion,
Okay.
Mazzy seconded it, and it is
Not Mike, okay.
8:53. Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Thank
good
you.
night, everyone. See you in 2.
Right, thank you,
Bye.
Sharon.
Okay, thanks.